Welcome to the Build My Online Store podcast, where we discuss everything and anything about running an online store. If you like the podcast, sign up for the mailing list to get news and updates at buildmyonlinestore.com. And now, here's your host, Terry Lynn.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Build My Online Store podcast. I'm your host, Terry, and today is our 10th episode, huge milestone for the show. Thank you for all the feedback and support. Do leave an iTunes review if you enjoy the show, or just shoot me an email. I can answer your questions about e-commerce. And so before we start, we also have another iTunes review from Tyler Fisk. I can't tell you how happy I am to have stumbled upon your podcast. I've been looking for a very long time for a podcast geared towards e-commerce businesses. As an e-commerce business owner myself, I find this show extremely informative and entertaining. My wife and I have already blazed through your first 9 episodes and are eager to hear what else you have in store. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. And if anyone else is an e-commerce business owner, please do leave a review. If you leave your business name, I'll obviously give you a shout out on the show and you'll get your name out. Today I'm joined by Bill Keith, president of Perfect Foods Bar, where he's going to talk about how he bootstrapped his organic foods business to where it is today. What's up, Bill?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. So let me just give you a quick background on how I found you. So I saw you on Mixergy first, and then I think there's a snippet where you mentioned you guys were on Shopify, and I was like, oh, hey, I got to get you on the show because I've been interviewing a lot of Shopify owners on their businesses. So I thought it'd be good to hear your story too. All right, so let's just kind of get started. So on Mixergy, I think you did it in early 2001, right?
Yes. It was, actually not 2001. It was 2010.
Oh, wow. So it's been a while. And I remember you mentioned your revenues were 2.2. What are they at now? Yeah,
they're right around 4 to 4.5. And we've got a ton of new accounts nationwide in the U.S. that's going to push that even higher. So we're on an extremely fast growth rate. And this is without any big backing of any type of financial investor or venture capitalist. This is just bootstrapped. It's exciting. When you grow this way, it's pretty tough because you got to really pay attention to cash flow. Make sure that you don't go out on a limb. It's important to take risk, but you can't take risk on things that could potentially jeopardize your business, so you have to take calculated risk.
Yeah. And so we'll go into the backstory of how you first started in a bit. So just from 2010 to now, what have been the real big growth drivers in the past 2 years?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one for us is the organic industry is on a 10% growth rate right now. Gluten-free products, high-protein products, different bars that are like meal replacements. They're on a really fast growth rate in the U.S. and worldwide. And what it's doing for us is we plugged into that core demographic that's looking for those different items. And because of that, I feel like it's been a lot of natural growth. If you look at the conventional side of the industry, it's at a 3%, less than 2 to 3% growth rate. So plugging into a growing trend is really important. And I think this is a sustainable trend because if you look at the last 10 years, it continues to go up.
Yeah, and especially I think now the big trend is where people are very concerned of what they eat in terms of transparency of where all the food comes from.
You're exactly right. The timing was perfect. The kind of product is something you can use daily as a meal supplement and a way to get protein for, you're going on different athletic events, or you're going for a workout and you need that protein to rebuild your muscles after tearing them down, and is the kind of supplement that people are looking for.
So I don't need to drink a protein shake before I go work out. It's much better to have a bar, right?
Well, both are good, but what the bar has that's an advantage on a lot of other supplements and products is it has the organic honey sweetener. That's one of the main components that separates us from any other bar on the market. With that organic honey, you have more of a sustained, long-lasting energy burst rather than just the up and down sugar high, they call it, from the fructose or some of the simple sugars. So it's a very expensive ingredient. We have to source. Oh my goodness, just the price and the sourcing, it takes us everywhere throughout the United States and world. But it's worth it because, our consumers care about what they put in their body, and they want that energy where they don't feel like they're compromising, like some of the Red Bull or, energy drinks or whatever it is, sometimes people feel like they're compromising a little bit where with our products, they feel like it's a natural energy source where, that'll be long lasting.
Yeah, I see. And so how are the bars made right now?
They're all handmade, and that's a big part of our production. And they're made in a handmade facility in San Diego. It's very tedious. It's very time consuming. But we have to do that because the way the bar's made, we put all your oils and proteins together, and we don't use emulsifiers. That's why we're actually in the refrigerators. We don't use soy lecithin. We stay away from the soy. And because of that, the bar doesn't have binders, so it has to be kept cold. It doesn't have any of those stabilizers that the other bars have to keep, shelf stable. So it's one of our key components in the consumers that really appreciate the purity of the product, appreciate that it's handmade, and it takes a little bit longer and it's a little more costly to make. But we're finding that people are willing to pay a little bit extra to have the quality.
All right, and soy lecithin went way over my head. Can you just talk about what that is?
Oh, yeah. So soy lecithin is what you're going to find in a ton of different products on the shelf today. It's a binder, it's an emulsifier that basically binds the oils and proteins together and keeps the product shelf stable. Because we don't add those stabilizers in our product, our bar is kept in the refrigerated section. It has a long shelf life in the refrigerated section, but it's more of an impulse buy. It lasts outside of the fridge for a couple of weeks and doesn't actually spoil. It's just it starts to lose form because it doesn't have those binders.
Oh, so is this like when I buy like a granola bar off the shelf?
Yeah.
That it kind of stays in that form no matter how I throw it around?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I see. So naturally the bar wouldn't be that hard unless it had this material in it.
You're exactly right. That's why it's kept refrigerated. It doesn't have those binders and those different, what we call emulsifier to hold the bar in shape.
I see. Because I always wondered when you buy granola by itself, it's never like as hard as a chunk as when you buy the bar. So now it makes sense.
Absolutely. You're wondering, a lot of people are like, how did they get all this, get these ingredients to just bind together so well? It's those binders.
So let's move back a little bit. Let's move way back to when you first started. How did you get the idea and where did it all come from?
Yeah, well, my dad was a nutritionist. I grew up, I'm the oldest of 13 kids, and I grew up eating super healthy, no sugar, no junk of any sorts. And growing up that way, it had a profound effect on me and my family. We would go from city to city. My dad actually lived in a bus, and we traveled from state park to state park, and just really got taught the principles of health and just the living that goes with it. And my dad would lecture at different venues about nutrition. He'd make several different products for years. He'd make different products that he'd sell to different companies, and finally, he decided, okay, this is a product, and this is back then. He used to make this bar for us, just in his little kitchen in the bus. We used to share amongst all of us, and there was a lot of concoctions that he came up with that didn't taste too good. But
so he experimented with all 13 of you on his recipes.
Yes. I mean, what a great group to experiment with. All of us loved it, and so growing up, I went to college, and we came to a pivotal time where my dad, he actually got pretty sick. He got skin cancer, and it was a time for the family to come together and see, okay, what are we going to do financially to keep the ship going? And at that time, there was a lot of young kids at the house, and so I dropped out of college, and I came back to the family and said, okay, in order for us to make this new business venture, we're going to actually have to sell our property. We had a little property and had a small amount of equity in it. Let's start making these bars. Everyone says we should sell to stores. Let's start. Let's build a factory and make these bars ourselves and start taking it to market. Needless to say, it was an idea that had its mixed reviews. People weren't thrilled about it. My brothers and sisters, it was mixed bag because it was a very big risk. But I felt really confident about the product, and I felt confident in my dad's recipe. And I knew if we all work together, we can make it happen. So I finally got it passed through. They said, "All right, Bill, let's see if your crazy idea is going to work." So we started selling. I'll never forget, 2005, we started selling into a co-op, a local co-op in Northern California. My first pitch to the store was, I was very nervous, and came up there. We actually sold them in Ziploc bags at the time, and
with no logo and nothing on it.
Yeah, we had just like a Microsoft Word font on there, but you got to start somewhere. You got to learn. Can't be afraid to make mistakes. That's a big one. And so I went out there and made a ton of mistakes. And the guy looked at me and said, "Did you make this in your kitchen?" And so went back to the drawing board. Figured out what kind of packaging, facility, all of that. We got it right. Came back again and started selling to that store. And with that one single store, we were able to start capturing more stores around the area, just small co-ops. Now we're nationwide in all the Whole Foods. We're in all the natural food stores pretty much nationwide. We sell to many gyms, universities. Just looking back, the big turning point for us was, a couple years into it, we were thinking, boy, maybe this plan wasn't the best idea. We were really strapped for cash. The business was just day to day. We went to a few venues and a few local events, and we happened to catch an eye of a local natural food chain buyer. Looked at the idea and said, "You know what? I'll give you guys your big break," and gave us a break. We only got one store at the time in this local chain, but in that store, we demoed that store for 30 days straight, did demonstrations in the store, because we were confident if we got that one store doing well, then he'd give us the rest of those stores. And sure enough, that's what happened. So the store did really well. He called us back and said, "My goodness, I wasn't expecting for the sales to be so good in that one store." We didn't tell him we demoed every day.
And so how deep of a hole were you guys in, just to give everyone an idea?
Oh my gosh, we were $250,000 in debt, and we took out every credit card you can imagine. It was just we'd go into work every day, and back then it was just me and my brother and a couple guys that decided to help us for peanuts, literally. We were getting to a point where we're going to need to close down. We tried, we did everything we could, and of course your thinking is, man, I squandered away our investment for my family, and there's a lot of thoughts that come in negatively to your head, and you just gotta. My big philosophy back then was just like, we need to go ahead and go the full course, and if it doesn't work, it's not because we didn't do everything we could, and sure enough, and some companies don't get this break, but we got a break to where we got into a local chain, and from there, we literally, me and my brother, made product at night and then sold it during the day. We did this for a couple months, and things started to really turn around. Of course, once you get established in a regional chain, then you can use that testimonial across America. And that's what happened. The last 5-6 years, it's just been building blocks of leveraging the accounts that we have. And it's been, now we're doing very well, and it's been really an amazing journey. That's for sure.
I see. And so let's break down the business model of working with chains. Like when you do sampling, how do they decide, okay, we want you guys in the store?
So basically, you have to go to a buyer, because every chain usually has a grocery buyer, a dairy buyer, whatever category that you're trying to get into. You go to that category buyer and you present information about the product, how it differentiates. They don't want to see a product that's like something else. They want to see how it's different, how it's better. So you got to show how it's better, what your niche is. Also, they really like our product. A lot of the dairy, because we work in dairy because we're refrigerated, many of these buyers like the product because it doesn't cannibalize from their other products in the set. It's not like it's a new yogurt or a new milk that's going to take sales away from other products in the set. This is actually adding sales to their set. And, a lot of dairy buyers like it because, they're actually, if anything, they're taking away a little bit of sales from grocery from someone buying nether bars. And a lot of times the way these grocery chains are run is they're all doing like a friendly competition between each other for their set. When you go in there and you mention how it's going to add sales to the set, you're going to supply demo support to the stores. You're going to run frequent promotions. If it tastes good and it has all of that together, you're probably going to get a shot. And if you do, it's important that you act on it. You can't just get in the store and let the bars sit. For us, it took a ton of just on the ground work, going into these stores, handing out bars to the employees, handing out shirts, really making sure that you service that account to where they remember you. And I mean, ultimately, you're making friends. That's what you're doing. You're going across to each store, making these friendships to where they say, okay, you know what? We like these guys. We're going to try to push their product. And when people come into their stores, consumers come into their stores, they're going to recommend, if somebody asks for a bar, they're going to recommend your bar because they love the product themselves and they remember you.
I see. And so the internal buyers, so if I'm selling dairy products, I would compete with like the fruit guy for more sales?
So, yeah, well, I mean, here's how it works. Basically, you have different departments in these stores, and they're all trying to increase their profitability and sales in their set, in their department. And so what you're doing by adding a bar into the dairy department, and sometimes dairy and grocery are the same, and this doesn't work, but sometimes dairy and grocery are different. And if that's the case, dairy buyers love to, so to speak, steal the prospective consumers going to the bar aisle to come into their area because it's just new sales for their set.
And they could buy their products nearby too.
Yeah, exactly. And it just draws attention to their set, and it doesn't cannibalize their other products. It's just adding new sales. So in the way our item is, the way it's set up and the way it's made, it takes the kind of clientele that's really health conscious, cares about their body, and it draws people to that set, which is what the buyers like. So, and a lot of these other grocery buyers and buyers that are looking for foods that are doing very successful in natural are looking to bring those items from natural over into what's called traditional grocery. So if you're really successful in the natural food industry, you'll start getting some overflow and having grocery people start to want you as well.
I see. And I understand grocery stores have, like, I guess they prioritize by shelf space. Like I read an article where, like, if you're higher, you actually pay the grocery store more, or is this true?
Yeah, some places, some grocery stores charge slotting fees, where if you get a certain shelf space, they're going to actually charge the manufacturer for that space, on top of what they automatically make. We try to stay away from that. We try to stay away from stores that do that. But basically, if your item does really well with a certain amount of SKUs, and you can show that if you increase your SKUs by double, it won't double the sales, but it'll actually exponentially triple or quadruple the sales, then they're going to start increasing your shelf space. That's where you see some items have just a ton of facing. You go, why do they need all that facing? It's because they've proven that with that facing, they can do a great amount of volume.
And so this all the way boils down to your original sampling and how the turnout comes out to, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so when I'm going to sampling, like say I go to Costco or I go to some supermarket, usually what happens is they just hand me the food and kind of that's it. I see if I like it. If I don't like it, I walk away. If I like it, maybe I'll look at it. But so what did you guys do differently that...
Well, we did our own demos. That's the big one. When you have, and I've been fortunate, I'm the oldest of 13, so I have, 3 or 4 brothers and sisters that are out there doing demos that are really passionate about the bar. We do commission-based demos to where, some of our reps, they actually, they're territory managers and they do the demos themselves. So they're actually, making finances when they sell these bars. So they're incentivized greatly. I think the key with a successful demo is to incentivize your demonstrators. Some demonstrators, the way the companies are set up, it's just an hourly wage, and if you sell 100 or you sell 1, it doesn't matter. We make sure and educate our demonstrators, and we really, that's sort of the key of our business model. We look for folks that are really enthusiastic about nutrition, like the product, and will push the product, and don't let anybody pass without explaining what the product is to that consumer so that they can make a purchasing decision. I agree. The worst demonstrator in the world is one that just cuts it up and doesn't say anything or just, says hello. They need to educate that consumer in the brief amount of time that the attention span of that consumer has about the product and, the ancillary benefits.
And so you could also say, since it was all your family members, you guys were really, really selling the story too behind the products instead of just handing it out.
Absolutely. No, this story is a great story. It's a family story. It's what, people, they know about, they have convictions about their own family and working with their brothers and sisters. I think a lot of them a lot of consumers think, wow, how do this many brothers and sisters work together?
Yeah.
And it is. I think we have a real clear understanding of our roles and our position. And that's important moving forward because, as soon as there's just so many things that can get in the way with family and business. And we do our best to try to avoid it.
And it's funny, you hear a lot of startup stories where they just have, 3 or 4 founders and it's such a huge mess. But you guys have 13 people and you're pulling 4 million plus a year. It's an amazing story.
It's really fun. And the fun part about it, too, is we have our mom at home and she still has a number of kids at home, smaller kids that are growing up. And everybody's wanting to get involved with it now, and I'm thinking, man, we don't have enough positions in this. I guess they can be the roller, the mixer, we got a number. That's part of this hand making process is it just takes quite a bit of just labor to make this work.
Yeah. So how have you scaled from, say, 2 million to 4 million, but you're still hand making all the bars?
That's the toughest part, really. It is the scalability. What we have to do is we just have to hire more labor, increase our efficiencies at different areas. And we're also looking at, doing semi-automated to where you can have machines that do certain parts of it. But because the way our bar's viscosity is and because it doesn't have a binder, we can't put our product through extruders, the conventional way of making bars. It literally has to manual pressing and rolling. And so we're hoping to semi-automate that and not do what we have been doing, which is just hiring more and more people because, just the labor cost and the overhead cost is pretty high doing it that way.
Okay. And so when you make the bars, do the retailers make you carry the inventory on your books, or how does that work out in terms of the finance?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's national distributors throughout the U.S., Unify, Tree of Life, Nature's Best, KeHE, a number of DPI, number of these national distributors that service all these stores. So what we do is we sell in bulk to these national distributors. They pay us simply in net 10 or net 30 days, and then they handle the inventory that goes to these stores, and the stores purchase from those distributors. So that's how that works.
So how do you get new flavors? I noticed you guys have, I think, 6 or 7 now on the website.
We have 5 flavors now, and we're looking at expanding to mini bars that are literally 100-calorie bites. We have a lot of convenience stores and different Jamba Juices and such that the mini bars, 100-calorie bites for like a 99-cent, $1.19 item is just be perfect. It's a little additional protein bite to the drink or whatever they're getting. So we're adding on those. We're also adding on a new almond flavors. There's going to be 8 total flavors in the next year.
Gotcha. And so how did you decide on almond?
Oh, the almond. A lot of the consumers that we work with, they have mixed feelings about peanuts. We purchase rather low alpha toxin peanuts. We source the best peanuts possible. But some people have allergy issues with peanuts, so we make an almond version. We have all of our line clearances and stuff, and we do allergy testing to make sure that it's clear of any peanut residue. And then we make almond butter bars. And I tell you, that's our last flavor that we've made, and it's been gangbusters. It already accounts for 25% of our total sales. And we're going to actually make an almond light bar coming up, which is going to be another huge hit because it's going to be a low-calorie almond version.
I see. So I assume you guys test the flavors within the family, right?
Well, that's it. Before we come out with the product, we test it among the family, and if the family likes it and a lot of my staff likes it, we'll give it serious consideration. And then once it passes that test, then we'll start doing a little bit of research at different events and stuff to see if the consumer likes it. And if all of those are a win-win, then we'll put it to market.
I see. And the good thing is you have 13 siblings. So how big does the age range span?
Oh yeah, well it goes from 11 all the way to I'm 29. So
it's perfect.
Yeah, talk about a great core of you have the kids, you have the the young adults, and then you have the middle-aged, low to middle-aged people, and then we also have some older gentlemen in the corporation. So we're able to reach a wide variety of people. And again, if I'm looking and everyone likes it, they have to give me their honest opinion. Then I tell you, it's been great with the last 2 flavors that we've launched. We've had a general consensus of these are going to be winners, and sure enough, the consumers have matched that.
That's amazing because you could give each sibling, to give it to 10 friends, and you instantly have 100 people that give you feedback.
It's a great little research group.
All right, so into the sourcing organic products, I understand there's a certification for certain foods, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Being certified organic, you have to look for certified organic products, across the U.S. And it's tough. I mean, you have market fluctuations. You have sometimes literally inventory runs out. And so we're constantly trying to source products throughout the U.S. and throughout the world, the highest quality products. And, that's part of our mission is the research aspect of it. Always tinkering with new ideas, always tinkering with new products and flavors and seeing if, something would make sense to add to our new product line.
I see. And so the certification is from the raw material, not the end bar, right?
Yeah, well, it's actually both. So we're certified. There's a number of certifiers throughout the U.S. You have QAI, you have OTCO. These are certifiers that enforce the government ruling on organic policy, so they're coming into our factory and they're doing a full inspection to make sure that we're putting in our products what we've said. And then also the suppliers have to get their certificates. So, the farmers, the shellers, the whatever, the ingredient is, they have to be certified. So we have to collect all these certifications to make sure that they're current and up to date. And then also we get certified as well. So all the way through the chain, all the way to the end user, if you're getting a certified organic product, it's been researched fully.
And so who is your typical customer? I'm sure you have a profile since you've been in business so long.
Absolutely. Our typical customer is, we try to appeal to the moms just because the moms are the buying power of America, and we still have the moms purchasing the food for the families. They're going into the stores. We're looking for health conscious consumers. We're looking for the educated consumers so that they understand the value that we're putting out there. If they don't understand the value, they're going to say, this is a bar that's 30-40% higher than other products. Why would I purchase this product? So you have to understand the quality. The cost of our product is so high for us making it. So we actually make less of a margin than a lot of those other bar companies, just because, but we still try to squeeze the cost down to make it affordable. We're looking for the educated, the health conscious, the mothers, preferably athletic, because they can use it on their runs or after their workouts. And then also we have sort of a subgroup of the college kids. A lot of kids looking for quick meals on the go in between classes. We do really well in universities. And that's another group that we try to target a little bit.
I see. And have you found that you still need to do a lot of consumer education on the material, or does the brand kind of carry itself now?
Well, no, it's still, I will say it's been a lot easier that once you give, the attributes and sort of the functional benefits of the product, consumers know what you're talking about. But there is a lot of education. That's part of the demonstration process. They saying, okay, well, should I not eat soy lecithin, or why should I, eat honey over fructose, or, why should I make these choices? And we can just give them, a simple, here's the different options and here's the benefits of this option. And so there is a lot of education in the process, and that's, done through our website and through our demonstrations.
And so I know you're also selling the bars online now?
Yes, we are. And it's funny, our online site, it was just sort of a service for all the consumers that purchase at the local stores and then travel across America. In different areas throughout the U.S., there's, they'd have to drive a few miles in order to go to their local natural food store to purchase our product. So we used it as a service to basically get those folks bars so they can purchase it online. Our pricing, we make sure our pricing is over what they charge retail, so that the retailers don't get upset with us. We never try to undercut our retailers. In fact, we actually encourage folks to go to their local stores. But it's used as a service for anybody looking to purchase our bars, and they don't want to drive an hour to go to a natural food store, then they have that option available.
I see. That's what I was wondering. Is I was wondering, wouldn't the retailer say, you're going to cut me out by selling direct? So, okay, if you sell it a little higher, I see that makes sense.
That's the key. That's the key. If you just make sure you're a little bit higher so that they can say, okay, this is just a service. And again, with our website, the way it's set up right now, it's it was built by someone in-house. It's not polished out the way we want it. We're actually going to go through a branding enhancement. And that's one of our next projects this next 6 months. So our website's going to change pretty dramatically. Our packaging is just going to be polished off, and there's going to be some pretty big changes, because a lot of what you see on our website and our packaging is stuff that literally me and my brothers and sisters got with the designer and sort of did ourselves. And that's fine, and it's worked great up till now, but now that we're a national brand, we're going to start polishing it off a little bit.
I see. And have you found it difficult to find consumers B2C online versus B2B to retailers? Because in retailers, you can sample them in the store, right? But online, there's no way they can test it. So what are the challenges you've seen?
A lot of challenges. We're finding that because our website is, the way it is right now, which it's fine, but it's just hasn't been sort of polished off and it's not super user friendly. Most of our sales, I'd say 90+% of our sales, is just from folks that have tried it at the stores and then want to purchase it online. We've seen a very small number of people that actually go to our website through hearing something, then purchase products without trying it. So that's been a big challenge for us, and that's something that we're going to try to work on this next 6 months when we go through this brand enhancement.
Yeah, that's a big thing with online shopping. Like the other day, I interviewed a lighting company, right? And they sell ceiling fans, and there's no way you could show people what it's like online, right?
You're exactly right. It's so tough. You can't visualize taste. It's really tough to visualize how good it tastes. So, consumers they look at the benefits, they look at the protein, gluten-free, the organic ingredients and all that. And, sometimes that makes a purchasing decision in their mind. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, if you look, there's a number of websites that, have great functional benefits and all these things with their product, but consumers will be a little hesitant to buy because they don't know if it's going to be something that they'll just gag on.
Yeah, so, exactly. Especially if they're buying a whole box of these.
Exactly. It's a commitment.
All right, and so I noticed there's a sweepstakes on your Facebook page. Can you just tell us the campaign, kind of how it worked out?
Yeah, so when we were kids, it's funny. When we were kids, we used to like the Willy Wonka, we still do, the Willy Wonka golden ticket. I enjoyed the movie, and, we talked among ourselves. We said, someday we're going to do our own version. So we decided the golden sweepstakes. Obviously, we couldn't, do the golden ticket, but we decided we don't want any attorney battles, that's for sure. But we decided to launch this golden sweepstakes as our own version. It's been very successful. I mean, we've had a lot of people, drive to the Facebook and the website, and the prize is a year's supply of perfect food bars, and all it takes is a simple, click to win or click to enter. You just go online and it's real simple to enter. And or we can send you an application as well. No, obviously, it's no purchase necessary. It's been a really successful campaign, and we're going to be doing this for the next, 6 to 8 months.
So 20 boxes, how many are in each box?
8 bars.
Nice, 160. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, 160 bars.
And so how many people joined the sweepstakes?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I believe it was quite a few. I don't have those numbers. That'd be I'd have to talk to our tech guy.
I'm curious because there was another store I interviewed. They gave away an iPad.
Yeah.
But they said it was good for emails and leads, but in terms of actual sales, it wasn't that good because everyone just wanted the iPad. So
and that's what we found too. It hasn't really increased our sales, but what it's done is just given us a big, list of emails for sure, contacts.
And that always helps out in the future as leads. So, all right. And I know so on your Facebook page, you also have some athletes that were just in the Olympics. How did you get the sponsorship with that?
Yes. Oh, this is so neat. This is something that was really fun. We do something called the Everyday Athlete, and we basically support these. You can call in or write into our office here, and then explain a little bit of story about yourself and how you use the product as a part of your life. And you've seen these different campaigns on TV about it's Everyday Athlete and find your own greatness. Well, with us, it's a similar concept. We want to just support everyday athletes and nourish their lives and help them achieve their own personal goals. One of those athletes was, were some Olympians, and we help support them, during their process to get there, and they actually end up winning some gold medals and stuff. So yeah, just super super excited about it and glad we can be a part of it.
Nice that your bar is helping out the Olympics, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so did they reach out to you guys or did you reach out to them?
Yeah, they reached out to us. They said, and they explained their story and what process they were in their journey to compete. And we're looking for stories and individuals that are real passionate about what they're doing. We're obviously we can't give bars to everybody, but we look for those neat stores where we feel like it can have a real good impact in their lives.
I see. Okay, and I see. Let's move into a little bit about shipping policy. I see there's $100 for free shipping. Like, kind of, how did you come up with that number, just in general?
Yeah, because our products are refrigerated, there's a lot of costs associated with shipping the bars. So you have all the packaging material, you have the little ice packs that we put in there. So in order for us to charge free shipping or to waive the shipping charge, there needs to be a big enough percentage that we can afford that. So $100 was sort of the key that we've figured out that's the amount that we can offset the shipping charges.
I see. Interesting. Okay. And so, I want to move a little bit about mindset because I really like the story of how you guys came back literally from rock bottom.
Yes.
And so have you heard of a blog called The School of Life? I don't know if you've heard of this.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
The School Life.
Yeah, it's by this Indian guy that he's basically a surfer and he writes a blog about kind of like the parallels he sees in surfing in life.
Yeah.
And he has an article called The Power of Hitting Rock Bottom. His name's Srinivas Bao. And one of the sections he mentioned is that when you're at rock bottom, you're really pushed out of your comfort zone. And that's when you can really take big risks and big goals. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, totally true. Totally true. I mean, if you look back on our journey and our story, what you're able to do when you're back against the wall, and it is amazing, because I mean, at the same time, there's sort of, what else do you have to lose, so if you have that mindset, it's powerful and it can really cause some dramatic changes. And not saying all those changes are for the good, but, you really find out what you're made of when your back's against the wall. Having that mindset that you just need to move forward and, be thinking critically about every aspect of your business. And, the problem is once you start to get a little bit successful and things start to go well, you can't lose that sort of that tenacity and that fire that you had, and you can't get comfortable. So it's really important. Yes, important when your back's against the wall, but when you start to grow, if you want to continue that push, it's important to have that same mental attitude,
And so in your story, you sold the house, 13 people moved into a tiny apartment. I mean, what went on in your mind when people were telling you were crazy?
Oh, I mean, for me, it was, it's either we're going to do this or we're going to have to, all get jobs and try to make it work, and I was in a unique situation because, I'm the oldest son of my house. My dad ever got sick, which is what he did. For me, it was automatic that I would need to come home and try to support mom and take care of the kids, just that's the way I was raised, so I didn't think anything of it. I thought, okay, what moving forward would be our best option? Looking back at it now, I honestly think I was crazy. If I would have known the amount of risk that I was taking, I'd probably not go, it probably would have really deterred me, but I think I was a little crazy enough and just not educated enough in sort of what really could happen, what sort of should have happened without the right moves, that, I decided to go for it. And sometimes that's a good thing, just going ahead and doing it. And, I don't recommend it to everybody. Other people, I've heard stories of where, they've done that and it hasn't been successful, so there's a lot of things involved when taking that risk.
Yeah, and there's certainly, back when you're back against the walls, you may overthink things too that could hinder your action taking also.
Yes. Oh man, I really like the stories like, well, if you don't know what to do, just do something. And I agree with that. If you're really up against it, and the worst thing you can do is just sort of start overthinking and not doing any action. If you don't know what way to go, just start going a way, and then you'll figure out by going off and maybe even the wrong direction, you'll start hopefully figuring out what the right direction is.
There's a mentor I have online who also has a podcast. He calls it the ready, fire, aim approach.
Totally. No, I agree. Just start shooting from the hip. And it's really funny. Me and my sister say, wow, we've had some really good intuition, and at the same time, now that we're growing to the next level, I'm finding that I do need to sort of change my philosophy a little bit and just start researching things fully before making moves, because we're at that stage to where we don't have to start taking all this risk everywhere. We can start taking some calculated efforts, which is great. You sort of have to say, okay, we're not in that role where we have to just go try to get every account that we can, or try to blast everything in every direction that we can to see what sticks. We're now into that stage where we can say, okay, let's take this calculated risk at these certain areas and grow the way we want to grow, which is a good place to be in.
I see. So it's no longer back against the wall, let's do it. You're actually taking a more logical thought process to... Okay, and so what are some other new products you're kind of thinking about? I mean, because certainly I'm sure you're going to keep pushing, in this foods area, but are you going to expand beyond bars, or what are you thinking about?
Well, we've talked about that here recently. We have some more bars, like I mentioned, that we want to bring out, and then we're going to make sure that whatever we put to market, whether it be cookies, whether it be muffins, whatever, that it follows our philosophy, that we don't deviate from the whole food concentrates as a nutrient source, from the good sweetener that's not artificial at all. So as long as we keep with our core philosophies, then I feel like then we can expand slowly. And I don't want to grow into 20, 30 products that are subpar. I make sure that my philosophy is, if I make a product, it's got to be researched completely, it's got to taste good, and it's got to have a direct impact, and it's got to differentiate. So there's a lot of jumps it's got to jump through, and so that the consumer knows that if they are launching a new product, this is pretty darn good.
And you don't want to just expand for expansion's sake too.
No way. It's got to have some functional benefits to the product, and it's got to differentiate it. You're exactly right. Don't expand for expansion's sake.
Yeah, because you see a lot of big corporations do that, but really the consumer in this day and age is really sensitive to actually buying stuff they need, or that supports their lifestyle.
Well, I totally agree, and there's a lot of trust that comes with the consumer and the manufacturer, and they trust that, okay, these guys aren't making 15 new products a year. They're making one or two. So that product is probably researched and has done its due diligence. It's almost like you go into some of these bigger grocery stores where they do so much research on their products before they put it on the shelf. The consumer trusts that if it's on the shelf, it's got to be good.
Yeah, like I believe Whole Foods website, they actually tell you where everything comes from, right? I've actually never been there, but I've heard it's very detailed.
Oh, very, very strict set of guidelines too for all the products they put on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I guess in this day and age, it's very easy to find information out, whereas, 20 years ago, you kind of just bought whatever was in the supermarket.
You're exactly right. You can research all the sourcing of different products and, find out what you're really getting. Exactly.
So if it's my first time buying, when I walk in the store, what flavor should I try?
Okay, do you like peanut butter or almond butter? You like cranberry?
Probably almond or peanut. One of those.
Almond or peanut. Okay. I would try the almond butter bar. It's a chunky almond with a sesame seed top, and it is unlike any bar you've ever tried. It is absolutely delicious. I'd try that one, but I'd also pick up a peanut butter because that's their best seller. A lot of people love the peanut butter. And then, I'd also pick up a cranberry crunch. It's a little bit more crunchy. It's lighter in calories, and it's more of a snack bar.
So I saw on your Facebook page, you also go to events like the Del Mar Mud Race sporting events. What happens there when you guys are sampling?
Yeah, those are fun events. We go to different, rock and roll marathons or different community events or whatever it is nationwide that have a ton of impact on the local consumers and just the local community. And we advertise at those events because if we're able to get sort of to the heart of the community and hand out samples and just bring a lot of goodwill, they're most likely going to go back to their local stores and start purchasing. They'll buy into what we're about, and it helps makes that purchase decision.
I see. So by going to these events, they're kind of pre-qualified.
Exactly. Most likely, the demographic's going to be athletic. They're going to be people that like to go outdoors and are active, and they're the consumers that purchase bars. Exactly.
And have you guys considered breaking into like gyms too, or like?
Oh yeah, we have a number of gyms that we sell to nationwide. Absolutely, gyms are great. The biggest challenge with gyms is they usually don't have a cold distributor that ships to them. So you were talking about inventory. that's to where we have to actually skip the distributor process and sell directly to the gyms, which as a manufacturer, you'd rather sell large quantities. But at the same time, we have a shipping center here to where we can ship small orders as well.
I see. And so how does the shipping center work out in San Diego? I'm just kind of curious.
It's tough. I'd much rather it be in the Midwest or somewhere a little bit more central where you're not traveling across the country. Because for us to ship to the East Coast, it's quite a journey. But by having the shipper in San Diego, it increases our shipping costs tremendously. The reason it's here with the factory is my family lives here, and
so they're all handmade too. So.
Yeah, so for the family to be a part of it, this is where it needs to be for right now.
Yeah, and moving from San Diego to the Midwest, that's a very hard sell.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'd rather extra costs. You're totally right.
yeah, you would have to pay me so much more to move to the Midwest.
So have you been to San Diego?
Yes, I'll actually be there in October, so maybe we can grab a coffee or something. So.
Absolutely. If you're here, I would love to take you on a factory tour. Seriously, you should.
That'd be awesome.
Let me know, and you can go through the factory. We'll go have lunch.
Awesome. All right. So before we let you go, where can we find you on the internet?
Okay, so you can go to perfectfoodsbar.com. That's perfectfoodsbar.com. And that's the best place to research about our products. And also, you can go to a store locator if you're in the U.S. and find the store nearest you.
Okay, alrighty. Thanks so much, Bill. I think that's it.
Hey, thanks, Terry. Have a great day.
To get more information about running an online store, visit our website at buildmyonlinestore.com. There, you'll find articles, case studies, and tools to help you run a successful online store. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Build My Online Store podcast.